travelers, it's Laura. Welcome to the channel. We're so glad you're here today. Friends, we're talking about Disney World and Disneyland and their security process. We have noticed over the years that Disney has had some growing pains with the security process getting into the parks. And through the ups and downs, we will say that 2023 has been one of the easiest years yet when it comes to the security screening process. So today we're going to talk you through what it's like to go through that process at the main entrance and give you a bonus tip that is the #1 way to go through Disney security like a pro. We used to actually plan our trips around security. So for example, we would stay at the boardwalk so we could go into the back entrance of Epcot called International Gateway. Or in California, we would stay at the Grand Californian so we could enter in through that back entrance into California Adventure. There's also now a back entrance into California Adventure from the Paradise Pier Hotel, which is in the process of becoming the Pixar Place Hotel. So many changes. Those secondary entrances can be a much smaller security process, so it's super quick, but it's not really necessary anymore to go that route. One of the new changes they've made is doing so much work in the front of Epcot, and so now it's not such a pain to go through there because they've got this space to make proper security and you're not all bottlenecked into a place that just doesn't have the real estate for it. So things are getting better and better. So this year we have been to Disney World in Florida and Disneyland in California, and these tips apply for both coasts. So you now walk through a metal detector that does a thermal scan, so they no longer have to take temperature checks of guests, and the metal detector helps scan for any dangerous items that might be on you. Now, sometimes if you're carrying metal items like an umbrella or a big water bottle, something like this, or I carry a tripod for my camera. It's not a selfie stick. Those are not allowed. But when you carry these things, there's a way to do it so that you don't get flagged by the metal detector. Because if you do, then they show you to the bag check table where you do have your bags searched. And this isn't a surefire thing because they also do random bag searches. So there may be times that happens to you. It only slows you down by a few minutes. But most people are able to walk through the metal detectors with their backpack on, not take their phone out of their pocket anymore. It's so much easier and faster than it used to be. So here's your tip. If you have these large metal items, carry them out in front of you, away from your body. If you leave them in your backpack, there's a good chance that you'll have to go to that bag search. But if you hold them out, and they can see the item that you're bringing in, they know it's not anything of concern, and your bag doesn't set off the metal detector as you walk through, you're home free. I first saw this done at Disney Springs, and I couldn't figure out what that person was doing with their arms stuck out in front of them. But once I figured it out, I did it every time, and it has really been just a charm. So if you want to look like a Disney expert, try this move. Oh, and one thing about strollers. We don't load up underneath the basket just in case they need to look. We keep most of our supplies in our backpack, unless they're metal, so that they don't have to do any additional digging as we go through with a stroller. Some people have found that bringing in beverages, like in aluminum cans especially, may get you flagged for search, but the jury is out on if that is because they want to make sure you're not bringing alcoholic drinks in, which are not allowed, or if that metal is setting off the metal detector. Either way, be aware that those may get you a few extra minutes going through security. So let's talk about bringing in food or drink. Lots of people assume that you can't bring outside food or drink into Disney, which I get, but this is not Six Flags. It's totally fine to bring in outside food or drink, and as a family with dietary restrictions, we have had to learn some of the ins and outs of this. This channel is all about travel with kids with dietary restrictions. And we've definitely been to other places where you're not allowed to bring in outside food or drink, or you have to have medical need for it and go through a process to get it approved. But here it's okay. You don't have to prove yourself. It doesn't matter who you are. So we are gluten-free, dairy-free, pescatarians, that's vegetarians who eat some fish. We don't eat shellfish. And I at times have had sensitivities to eggs and corn and a handful of other things that have made it really tricky to eat at certain places. Not usually at Disney. Disney is excellent at making things available to people with all kinds of dietary restrictions, and we have all kinds of videos to show you how you can eat at Disney with whatever allergen concern you have. That said, if you feel better bringing in outside food or drink, do it. Here are some tips to make it easy, because there are some guidelines when it comes to this category specifically. 1, no glass containers. Baby food jars are an exception. 2, no alcohol. We've said this. 3, nothing that you need to refrigerate or reheat. Now, you can bring in ice packs like this, but don't bring any loose ice or dry ice. Knives are prohibited. This is usually a security safety thing. I don't know how it works when it comes to utensils for dining, but just know that as a general blanket statement, knives are prohibited. And this is true for food or anything else you bring in. Bags, backpacks, and coolers need to be 24 by 15 by 18 inches or less. If it's bigger than that, they're going to ask you to leave it out. You cannot bring in a full-size rolling suitcase. You can't bring in a full-size cooler. But if you have a cooler that is within those dimensions, you're welcome to bring it. You are technically allowed to bring in a hard-side cooler, but I really recommend bringing in something like this that's soft-sided and definitely fits within those dimensions. Also, some folks bring in their food maybe to save a little bit on their travel budget. I have a sister who definitely does that when she can. And if you bring it in, you have to carry it around with you all day. Not such a big deal if you have a stroller you can stash it in, but for some folks, it's going to be heavy. And so some folks utilize the lockers there that you can rent. However, if you're planning on doing that, make sure you check Disney's website for the dimensions of the lockers at the park that you're going to make sure it fits. Because it would be awful to plan to stash your stuff and then end up it doesn't fit, so you have to carry it all day when you didn't plan on doing that. Again, we recommend the soft-sided cooler with prepackaged snacks, bottles of water, and we in the past have a Whole Foods order delivered to our Disney resort on the day we arrive so that we have everything we need for our whole trip. And you can find the video here with all the details about how to make that happen. There are a few more items that are prohibited, so you always want to make sure to check the Know Before You Go section of the Disney website before your trip. And avoid anything in general that would be harmful or disruptive to other guests. You don't want to get stopped at security and have that eat up part of your day when you're trying to make it to rope drop, or worse yet, have them say, oh, you brought one of those wagon strollers. Those are prohibited. You have to take it back to your car or back to your hotel. That would be such a pain. Don't do it. Disney wants you to have a fun time. They want you to have a safe time, and that is a big priority for them. But we can all work together to make it an easy process, and then you can go have an awesome, magical day. I hope your trip to Disney is great. We just wrapped up a series on Disney World, and next week we're going to be launching into a series on Disneyland. So no matter where you're going, we've got content for you to give you all the tips and make it an awesome vacation. I'm going to leave you with some sentiments that we had on our actual time at Disney just last month.
We were just saying something that's actually changed pretty dramatically over the last couple of years is the security experience. So if you go back 4 years ago, the experience process was pretty labored, right?
It was stressful.
It felt temporary. You would actually sometimes adjust your plans according to what side of security you're going to be. Epcot in particular, the placement of their security was particularly bad, I think, because of the way the monorail
There was just nowhere for it to go. It's just like when you go to some airports and TSA is clearly wedged into a hallway that was never designed for a TSA. So I think they've really worked hard on improving some of the customer experience and guest experience, even as the magic begins as you enter the park.
And now, the security kiosks are fully branded and built out,
But more than that, the way that they process people through is faster without losing any of the safety to guests and the park as a whole.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a bit of technology upgrade there as well for what they use for the screenings. But now not every single bag has to be gone through. And this isn't just Disney. We have to have our bag looked at when we go to Legoland. And every single time we go to an arena, to go to a hockey game or whatever it may be. So I appreciate the safety, but I'm also just as grateful for the efforts to make the guest experience better. And it's really been easy breezy this trip.
Yeah.
We didn't even think about it until we went, oh, that was easy. It hasn't even been a thing this trip.
Yeah.
So yay.
Thank you so much for joining us. It means the world to me that you would take the time to spend with me here today. If this has been helpful for you, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can catch more. I love making these videos, and I'm really grateful that you're here with me. I want your vacation to be a great one. I appreciate you, and we'll see you next time, travelers. Bye.